Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So last week you seen us tear down the 270-5 Hitachi excavator. We pulled the swing motor out because the swing box seal was bad due to water getting in the slew ring and freezing and shoving the seal up. The reason the water got in was because the gasket that's around the rotary manifold was deteriorated and shrunk and allowed the rainwater to get in. So we tore that apart. We pulled the rotary manifold out. We didn't have the right rotary manifold on hand like we thought we did. So we kind of had to pause on this project. Well, Friday came around, and Friday we went to the fertilizer shed project, and we ended up driving the well and putting in a well pump, plumbed all that up, and we put the concrete structure in that houses the well. So now we're here back Monday. We've got everything on hand that we need to put this excavator back together, so I'm going to get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this ring back on the swing gearbox. The ring has the new seal in it that Dad put in over the weekend. He got bored. I guess he was tired of sitting in the house with Mom, so he come out here and he put this new seal in. Basically, all you got to do is just tap it in gently with a hammer, and it'll go right in. So I'm going to put some Loctite gasket maker on this, and then I'll put it back on, bolt it on, and it'll be all sealed up. So I think what I want to do is I want to get this back together, and I think I'm going to stand that up, and I'm going to put gear oil in it and just let it sit in here and make sure that it's not going to leak, which it shouldn't, but once it's in there, you can't see it, so you can't tell if it's leaking or not until it starts dripping out the drain hole in the bottom of the slew ring or coming out the turntable. We'll get that, and then before this goes back in, we'll get our rotary manifold back in. That way it's easier to get down there and hook all the hoses and stuff up. So let's get started. We're going to get interrupted today. We need to go back to the fertilizer shed when it gets a little warmer, and we're going to put some more limestone around and scatter some more dirt. So I'll see how far I get today on this. We might do some of this tomorrow. So let's get started and see if we can get this excavator back together, serviced, and out of the shop, and the next thing can come in. So we're just going to take this Loctite 515 gasket maker. We'll just go around it, if it'll come out of the tube. Now we don't need a lot. I do want to get some around the holes. I do have 2 tubes of this. I'll probably have to use my finger to smear around some. Like icing a cake. Just like so. It's not going to take much. Well, got our flange all gasket materialed up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to smear some white grease where this seal goes on, kind of on the gear a little bit, just so that when that seal goes on, it's lubed up a little bit. I'm a big fan of white grease. Make sure that seal slides on there real nice. We don't want to cut that seal. All right. Now, so If I hold my tongue just right and concentrate, should be able to slide that right back on there. I had to laugh. I had a viewer make a comment that he had just watched the video of doing the concrete at the fertilizer shed and was amazed that we used rebar chairs to hold the rebar up, and then he was amazed that we pressure wash stuff before we tear it apart. So he about fell out of his chair when he realized it wasn't another half-ass YouTube channel and we do things right around here. I appreciate that. We try to do things the way that they should be done and proper. Anything worth doing is worth doing right the first time. Bolts probably aren't the cleanest, but that's all right. There are some YouTube channels out there that I'm not going to talk bad about anybody, but there is some things that could be done better. Now, I don't know a torque spec on these. I don't have a technical manual on these excavators. It's tough to get your hands on a technical manual for these excavators that's not in Japanese. And obviously I don't speak Japanese. So we kind of just tighten things till it feels right. It's never been an issue. Usually 3/8 impact, the small one is kind of it's kind of tough to know on some of this stuff how tight it should be, because with the hot and the cold on these excavators, it tends to tighten fasteners up. Like there's sometimes you go to change a hose and you've got the Allen head cap screws on the hose flange or halves. You can't get them out because over the years of hot and cold, they've tightened up and they're just a bear. That's why if you do a lot of work on excavators, I highly suggest getting a set of the Allen wrench sockets that actually bite as you try to turn the fastener out. Those have helped tremendous on these because it keeps from rounding the heads of the Allen head cap screw out. Another thing that really helps is a good hammer and a punch. Take the punch, put it in the center of the Allen head cap screw, put it in the center of the Allen head cap screw right here, and hit it hard. A couple good hard hits, and they'll loosen right up. Just like the bolts that hold this swing motor in. I had a couple that the 1-inch Milwaukee impact wouldn't back out. Well, part of the reason was because I had a 3/4 extension in there, and I had reduced it down. I had so much flex, I was losing my impactability. Well, what I did was I took a piece of round bar and it just kept hitting on top of the head of the bolt because you couldn't get in there to swing with a hammer. And a couple good hits, and that bolt backed right out. All right, seal is back in there. Now we can get our rotary manifold ready to put back in, and we can get it all put back together. Well, we got our new rotary valve here, new takeout. We're going to get it prepared. Gotta get these plugs out, gotta put our own stuff in. Plugs, caps, adapters. Those are too small ports. Need those out. Now these are takeouts. These are taken from like equipment that is turned into rail mounted equipment because they need more ports out the bottom. So what they do is they'll take these good rotary manifolds out that are new. This one is new, it's just laid on the shelf for a while. And then they'll put what they need in, and then we get to buy them as new takeouts. Put a little white grease on there. I get my pocket pry bar and peel that old O-ring out. I got all new O-rings. So has anybody on the channel watched the Essential Craftsman, Scott Wadsworth up in Oregon? I've been watching him, and he was talking about tools that he carries in his pockets and how essential some tools are to carry in your pockets. And I think my most essential tool that I carry in my pocket has got to be my pocket pry bar and my Nipex Cobra pliers. Put this adapter, oh, this goes here, that's right. Goes there. Now I'll go ahead and I'll tighten these the rest of the way when I get it in the excavator. That way it holds it nice and still for me. All right, I'll go get the other two, the two short ones that go in there. Get those in, and we got the side ones to do, and it's ready to go back in. Well, we're back from working on the fertilizer shed project today. We're gonna start getting this put back together. So you remember this place under here, nasty place. See George up there through the hole? All right, we're gonna get that rotary manifold put back in. So I'm gonna get this camera mounted somewhere where you can all see, and then I'm gonna fish the strap up through the hole. George is gonna pull it up, and I'm gonna get some bolts in it. All right. Oh boy. Well, George, the rolly chair idea didn't work. It was too tall. Oh, I got it. Here comes the strap. Hang on, let me pull it through here. Okay. There you go. Oh boy. Ready? Oh good, it's hanging the right way. Hopefully it'll go up through that hole without a problem. It weighs about 16 ounces to the pound if you're wondering what it weighs. Got it? All right, let me get the bolts. Darn it. I was afraid of that. All right, there's one bolt partially started. Let me find that one I dropped. This is not something you would want to do by yourself. is heavy. You almost need like a service truck crane to draw it up in there tight while you get the bolts in. Here, hold it right there. Let me see if I can snug this one bolt. There we go. I just don't want it to flop around too much. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten them. There we go. Ow, that hurt. Sock it right in the chin. All right, now I can hook all the hoses up, put all new O-rings in, and then we're done down here. Well, start putting hoses back on. I got the two brake lines on top. Got them done and out of the way. I'm gonna take a little white grease. I'm gonna smear in the grooves where the O-rings go. That way it holds the O-ring in there while I put the hose on. This makes things a little easier. So these are special O-rings that go in these fittings. And they are a lot thinner than the O-rings that you just get out of a random O-ring set. So always keep that in mind. See, they're a lot thinner. Always keep that in mind, because if not, you'll drive yourself crazy replacing O-rings because they won't be right and they'll blow out pretty quickly. Alright, so that is this hose right here. Get that one up in there again. I'm gonna get up in here, make it a little easier. There we go. It's a pretty tight area to work, but it's easier getting up in here than it is trying to lay on the floor and twist these stiff hoses together or around to make them go where you want them to. There's that one. I can get a wrench and tighten it. Oh, there's my wrench. So I did make sure all these adapters are tight. I'm going to make sure of that. Kind of let that hose kind of relax. And then tighten it. There we go. There's one. Only 3 more to go. The next one's closer to the ground. Right here. Go ahead and get his O-ring put in there. Already got the white grease in there. Kind of creates a suction. Keeps that O-ring in. Well, I guess I shouldn't have said 3 more hoses to go. We got the brake or the case drain return lines to put on yet, but those aren't big, so them aren't hard to do. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these other 2 back on, get these put on, and then we're done down here. All right, we're gonna put our new rubber gasket around this rotary manifold here. So this is it. This is a new one. It snaps down around this piece here. This is like a ring that's welded into the house, and then it locks into this groove. So we'll see what we can do here. Got to get it over here. Now there is oil down in here. There's no good way to clean it out right now. It needs pressure washed out again. Get this rolled down in here. Something like that. Just like that. Now it does fit into a groove on this rotary manifold. Probably have to get like a 90. Oh, there it goes. Sometimes you gotta get a pick and kind of hook it. There we go. There it is. Okay, we're good to go. Just work it a little more, make sure it's in that groove all the way around. Now I did go around with the little die grinder with a Scotch-Brite wheel, and I run around in there and clean that up. I got George welding up that bar that holds this. We're gonna have to turn this a little bit to get it lined up over there. No big deal. I'll get that turned. I got these fittings. Let's see. This one goes on this side. Get these put back in. Get them little hoses hooked back up. So we'll get these in and get that bar back on here pretty soon once he's done with it. Well, if I can get that one started. That rubber's kind of pushing up on it. Oh, there we go. Hold the rubber down. There we go. All right. So that will take care of our water issue in our slew ring right there. Got one more hose to go, and then we put the bar back on that George welds up for me. Do a little white grease in that groove. There we go. Another O-ring here. Put that down in there. Make sure there's nothing in that fitting. All right, tighten it up. Try to, anyways. There we go. It's tight. Get my 2 bolts here for my bar. Somebody changed my impact. There we go. Alright, rotary manifold is done. Time to set the swing motor back in. Alright, up we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. We'll wipe my orange paint off. Probably far enough up. George, I think you're gonna have to open the other door. Yeah. Go ahead and drop it down a little bit. Primer, it's like motion down the way. Alright, straight down. Slow. Down just right here. Okay, now up. Okay, stop. Just stick in. Now gently down. Alright, we're going to get these bolts tightened up. Got me a good impact extension now for the big impact. I do have some already snugged up in the back. I'm not just going around without snugging some up first. I drawed it down tight with the ones. Alright, now I'll go back through and hammer them all good and tight. Well, everything is back together. Engine's fully serviced. Ready to go back outside. I've got it soaked down with some Purple Thunder degreaser. So we're going to take it out. I'm going to pressure wash it all down, get all the oil off, all the oily handprints I got all over it. And then we'll put these covers back on the top. And this machine's going to go do a little ditch digging and beaver dam removal. So ready to go again. So hopefully with that rotary manifold now being replaced, we won't have a doggy track anymore. I'm going to say that that definitely fixed it. So looks real nice with that new rubber around it. It'll look even better when I get it washed up in there. So all right, let's take it outside. We've got about an hour's worth of cleaning up the floor. I mean, it got nasty under there. So gotta get that all cleaned back up. So I thought before this excavator goes out, I better tighten this track up a little bit because it is kind of loose. Well, I went to tighten it and I couldn't get the lock and lube to lock on it to seal, because on these excavators they'll get mud packed in here and it'll sit around there for a long period of time. And don't say it's because we don't clean our undercarriages. We clean our undercarriages and 10 minutes later they're full of mud, so it's not our fault. The only time we really clean them is in the winter time when they could freeze up and cause rollers not to turn. Any other time we just kind of shovel out around stuff, around the rollers, just so they don't wear. But we don't clean them like every single day. So these will kind of rust up. Well, these won't, because these are actually like a stainless steel. But the steel ones will rust up, and then you can't get your greaser to, or your lock and lube to lock on it tight. So what I do is, instead of getting these new all the time, I just change out the grease zerk in them. Works out real good. So I can get the wrench to go on it in there. Might have to get an offset wrench. Well, new one's in there. It's not leaking, and the track's tightening up. It's going up slow. Well, it all functions the way it should. No leaks, no oil. I'm gonna call this one a success. Alright, I'm gonna go get my rain gear on so I can do some pressure washing. We're gonna check the hydraulic oil in this, and then I'm gonna wash it. So thank you for watching, greatly appreciate it. We'll see you all in the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed this.